Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Black Health and Wealth Show. I am your host, Kevin Boyette. And this week, we're going to be honoring fathers. There is no, I repeat, no bad time to honor fathers. I know that it's thought that in the black community that fathers are absent, that fathers aren't important. We know that there are women out there who feel that they don't need a man to help them raise their children. I beg to differ. I think fathers are extremely important in their children's lives, and that fathers should be honored all the time for the work that they do. We know that mothers get honored constantly, but this week we're going to honor fathers. Bringing out an interview that I did over a year ago, but I just thought that now was just a really good time to share this with you all, and met some amazing fathers. I know some amazing fathers, and you're going to get a chance to meet them and get to know them this week. So first up is Mr. Wendell Flip Russell, followed by Mr. Marc Partlow. So I hope that you enjoy this. Remember, the Black Health and Wealth Show is here to educate, inspire, and uplift. Peace and love, people. Let's take a look at these fathers. So, Flip Russell, I've known you, what, over?
Oh boy. I'd say 30 years.
At least.
Yes.
And you have 2 kids, right?
Yes, sir.
That's it, okay. So let me ask you this. When you first found out that you were going to be a father, how did that make you feel?
It was the greatest feeling in the world for me.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be a father all my life, really. You know, just the example of my father.
Okay.
I thought he was the greatest guy on the planet.
Next to mine.
There you go. But you know, the day that I saw that sonogram,
Mm-hmm.
that heartbeat on that sonogram, it was as if everything else, it was like that day I really started living. Everything else was completely insignificant. It was like the door just opened up.
Okay.
So,
Now you talked about your father being the greatest man. So what wisdom did you pick up from him that you, transfer to your kids now?
I hope it's his demeanor,
Mm-hmm.
his calmness in just about all situations. He knew how to diffuse a situation. And on the one time that I saw him come close to losing his temper was when I wrecked his car.
Yeah, that usually happens.
That was the only time. Everything else was just very, very smooth. And even that was smooth. He just kind of shook his head, and he came real. It was the closest I ever heard him come to cursing. He said, "Shoot, boy." That was about it.
Okay. Now, you talked about that when you first saw the sonogram, that was a, defining moment for you.
Definitely.
So how has that, how did that change you? How has fatherhood changed you?
That's a difficult one. I'd say that it has, if I had to pinpoint anything, I'd say that it slowed me down in terms of what I did musically.
Mm-hmm.
But it really hasn't, because after my son got here, his interest in music, I just picked right up where I was.
Okay.
But it slowed me down in terms of saying to myself and to my wife, well, I want to go here and I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And just grounded me a little bit more.
Okay.
I was really focused on becoming a father my entire life, but I wanted to do it with the right woman. So
I understand. That definitely makes a difference.
No doubt about it.
Now, how would you talked about your son taking on the musical interest. You really haven't, said too much about your daughter, but how do you want your children to remember you?
I want them to remember me the same way I remember my father, as just the absolute epitome of what manhood is supposed to be, not what society tells you that it is supposed to be, not the whole macho thing, but biblically what a man is supposed to be, not dominant, but just right there, knowing the right thing to do, being able to handle the situation and doing so the way Jesus would do it, in a godly way.
Okay. And our final question for you is, what's your biggest challenge being an African American father with, a little boy and a little girl growing up in today's society?
I'd have to say that my biggest battle is the battle of a sense of self-culture and combating the negative images that are always out there. And when I say negative images, I'm not just talking about how we're always kind of vilified as the villain or the one who's doing the bad things, but also the things that we do and that we put out there in terms of the images that we have. Twerking, you see the videos with the alcohol and the references to drugs and things of that nature. Just that is prevalent in pop culture, and even if you try to control it, they see it other places. So you have to be very, very diligent in explaining these things and why you want to avoid these things or these things in moderation, depending on who you are or where you're coming from, I suppose.
Now, do you worry about your kids growing up too fast?
I do, very much so. The information age, things are coming at them so quickly. You just have to watch everything that's coming at them. You really can't control it, but you have to give them the information so that they know how to make the proper decisions.
Okay. And Mr. Russell, we're done with you.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you. Marc, I don't really know that much about you, so how old are you?
I'll be 42 in February. I'm 41.
Okay. And how many kids do you have total?
I have my son and I have 2 stepchildren.
Okay, so 3 kids total.
Yes.
Okay. So when you first found out that you were going to be a father, how did that make you feel?
When I first found out I was going to be a father, it was like a call to arms, really. Like, a realization of stopping the old ways of doing things, changing mentality.
Okay. So, like I said, I don't really know that much about you. So what wisdom would you say that you've picked up from your father that you've tried to pass down to your children, or that you try to incorporate into your parenting?
Well, honestly, I haven't gotten too much from my father. The only thing that I can say that I got from my father was to work hard and be there financially for my children.
Okay.
Everything else I kind of picked up from
On the job training.
yeah, OJT.
Okay. Okay. Then you said that fatherhood changed you. That you had to stop some things or whatever. Is there any other ways that fatherhood has changed you?
Maybe more focused on the decisions and a conscious effort of my actions, pretty much.
Okay. Important question now. With these 3 kids, how would you like for them to remember you?
As being honest and fair would be the most important, and know that the love and support is there, or was always there for them.
Okay. Now, you have a young man that you're raising, and things are a lot different than they were when we were growing up.
Yes.
So what are your biggest challenges with raising a young man in the 21st century?
The biggest challenge is being able to relate and communicate, with them. Even though certain things haven't changed, they just called it something different. But just being able to relate with them and doing the same thing as our parents have done with us, trying to explain to us that we know what they're doing, what they're going through. So it's coming back full circle.
Is that hard for you, or is it?
It gets frustrating sometimes, but that's probably the hardest part of it.
Okay. Any other challenges?
Well, co-parenting sometimes.
Okay.
When you have children from 2, the parents aren't together. Sometimes that can be a challenge. Sometimes.
Okay. When you say it can be a challenge, what types of challenges does that present?
Well, I've been blessed to not have these challenges. I can speak on them because I've seen many others, from our age group where you have parents from 2 different households. You hear a lot of people complain about the communication, the setting the standards or the rules. It has to apply in both homes. It can't be just A at mom's and B at dad's. It has to be the same consensus from both parties.
Okay.
I would say that's probably the hardest thing of the 21st century.
Okay. Now, is there anything else you want to share with us about being father, or Any other challenges or?
It's a very humbling and good experience. It will definitely force you to grow up and reevaluate what's important.
Now, that happened with you, but we know that out there in the general public, there's a lot of fathers that don't take on that responsibility, that don't grow up, that don't make that change.
Yes, yes.
Is there any advice or anything that you would suggest to them?
Thing I suggest to them is, your children didn't ask to come here, and you should take the time to know your children, because that bond that you could have with their children, you're raising a child that could turn out to be a lifelong friend as they become an adult. You're going to miss out on that. You're definitely going to miss out on
Okay. Anything else?
that.